Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is I'm watching American Crime Story, Impeachment, Episode 7, The Assassination of Monica Lewinsky.
Woof. This one was a lot, man.
It was the kind of like culmination of what we've been doing up until this point. Yeah. So there were certainly very, very few reveals. There was some contextualizing, primarily in a pretty great, terrible, but great scene with Jay Leno's writing room.
Man, I hope it was on purpose that all of those douchebags looked exactly the same. They were identical to one another. And that was the part that I was like, that's good writing, making them all identical.
It's wild. I mean, we know what happened. We know what happened going in. We know what happened as we're watching it, and still watching it unfold. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, that's uncalled for. And it's like, could you imagine having your like entire life read back to you in bullet point form?
No, but it's mostly for me because this is all the stuff I remember. Like, I remember hearing and seeing all of this stuff as it happened. And I think the worst part is I don't remember feeling bad about it. But now I feel so bad about it. Like, it makes me feel bad.
We were of the age, she was an adult to us. And also we were right at that point where we were learning about sex. Sure. So it was far more titillating, especially as one of the boys. It was far more abstract. I'm a little more shocked is not the word. I'm not shocked, but I a little bit can't believe that you had these adult men that were able to make and poking fun is one thing. Like, sure. I actually revisited a sketch or two of the SNL, and they gave her a ribbing, but they weren't as vulgar with Monica.
So that was something that I actually found interesting watching it this time around, because I remembered that John Goodman played Linda. But I think what's interesting is they picked, I would probably say, the most attractive woman in the cast at the time to play Monica. And then
they played her as ditzy.
A man to play Linda. Yeah, they played her ditzy, not like a psycho or like a gross
like
person. They played her
raven-haired Jezebel, you know?
Sure, exactly. And I think the best part is that then they picked John Goodman for Linda Tripp. Which is like, so I feel like in their own way, they were doing a commentary on who was the bad guy in the whole scenario. So it's something that I noticed watching it in this show tonight, that I was like, oh, that's actually quite good.
Watching Linda, this has been an experience for me. It hasn't been a roller coaster at all. It's pretty straightforward, you know, but they do find ways to sort of strike me with her characterization every episode. And there's just a point in this episode where she's being tough for her kids, I guess. And you're just sort of like, it didn't have to be this way.
I know.
Like, you could have just been like a nice lady that worked for the government and had like a family and friends and Christmas shop. You know what I mean?
I do kind of wonder, like, her kids don't seem mad at her at all.
According to her daughter,
betrayed this friend.
Yeah, according to her daughter, and this was based on like the first 2 episodes or something, her daughter said it was a fairly accurate portrayal. And I think she was I think Linda was very, she made a point to hold her emotions very close to the chest, because she did say about the Saturday Night Live skits, I read like a quote, I did a little bit of research, and she said that she mostly found it funny. She said that one of the skits or one of the jokes, I think, hurt her feelings, but she wouldn't say what it was.
Which one
or what it was. But she was like, it mostly was in good fun. And so I think she was very aware that she couldn't let it or let us know it hurt her feelings, which is also, like, again, somehow even more infuriating. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just, like, it would make her all a little more human if we knew it hurt her feelings. Because at this, I mean, I can tell she's a human person but it's just like everything she does. Is she just like, you know, she had that sit down with her kids where she was like, I am like the man who brought down Nixon. And I was like, you're not like that, though, because Richard Nixon was committing crimes. And like Bill Clinton was committing adultery. Those
you
are
cornered him.
Things.
That's different. Yeah.
Like, it's so much different. And so that's the kind of thing where I just like, it's still this like this feeling of superiority and self-importance. It's just, there's nothing to back it up in reality. And she just like, as she's walking on the way to her car and she's kind of smiling and she's like, I am a witness in a federal investigation. I can't speak to you. And I'm just like, you're not as important as you think you are.
Do you have any thoughts personally or critically about Monica absorbing as much of it as she possibly could?
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
I mean, would you? Would you just sit there and watch it?
Okay, maybe.
Is it like a form of inoculation?
Kind of, but in another sense, I guess so. Yes, I guess yes. Because for me, I agree with the point where she was like, how else am I going to know what they're saying? Like, I won't know what they're saying about me unless I watch it. Like, I have to know the information that's out there. And there were a couple of moments with her and her mother was like, we don't need to watch this. They're just lying. And Monica was like, they're not lying. All of this stuff is true. It's just the way they're saying it.
Certainly a factor.
Yeah. And so it's like that kind of stuff where I'm just like, oh man, like, I don't know. I think I would have to watch some of it. Like, I think I would need to know what people were saying about me.
I can't answer that question. I know I would see some of it.
Yeah.
Because I remember I could hear in our old house in Savannah Bluff, I could hear the boys outside from my bathroom. And I remember once or twice hearing them like talking about me and I left. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I wouldn't want to know. I had pulled a stunt. It was the kind of thing that not that I deserved it, but I was like, I understand why they're talking about me. Yeah.
I would have to know. I think I'd have to know because if you know, then you know how to react to it. Because what if it's like she said, like, what if she goes outside and then actually it's like what Bill said in this episode where he was like, I don't know what the next question is going to be. I don't know what information Ken Starr has about me. Like, I don't know how to react in situations if I don't know what everyone knows. And so I think I'd have to know what everyone knew.
But it's like, if you feel like you are, like, for instance, your appearance, if you like struggle with your weight already, what good is a bunch of people going to be commenting on it?
Sure. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I mean, you and I have talked about that, where it's like people have called us fat in comments before. And we're just sort of like, yeah.
It doesn't faze me.
And do you think no one has ever said that before? You think I don't know that? So I think for stuff like that, I would be able to shrug it off. But it just is like, I would want to know what information was out there. So I would know what information everyone had. So I would know what I could say if they still didn't know all the information. Like, I would know what not to say, I guess. Yeah.
Going back to Linda for a second, I feel like Allison has been a really strange presence on this show. She reminds me a bit of the role Kiernan Shipka played on Feud, but not quite.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this actress isn't quite as dynamic, and I feel like the role doesn't have as much.
Do you think it's just meant to humanize her, or?
Well, I mean, Linda did have kids, and they are still alive, and they were with her in these moments. So, I mean, I don't think it's, and like you said, her daughter Allison has like commented on the show, so I don't think it's out of bounds to have that portrayed. I just think there's not as much there because there's nothing beyond normal teenage drama with Linda and her daughter. Like with Betty Davis and her daughter, there was bigger than teenage daughter drama. There was more than that going on. And so there was something to portray, but I don't think there's necessarily anything to portray. It's just like a facet of Linda's life that's separate from Monica.
I feel like this scene with the bourbon or brandy or whatever it was, I feel like
it was brandy.
I feel like that was the most successful, because up until this point, Allison was just sort of like a thing that Linda acted around, and this was like really the first time that I was like, oh, okay, I'm curious if she's going to have another, because I don't really know what we're leading up to in this show. Like, what is the end of this show?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of hoping that we just have like a flash forward 20 years so that Monica's happy.
So it's like, I don't know if she's going to get some profound moment in the final episode where we're like,
I doubt it. I mean, maybe. No. I doubt it, but you never know. Ryan Murphy's a crapshoot. Anything can happen.
I didn't fully understand the immunity thing with Monica. I mean, I followed that she didn't get it, but what was the issue?
Ken Starr just got butthurt that Monica's lawyer was going on the morning shows and talking shit.
That's rich.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, way a lot. I didn't realize that's what happened. Like, that they were that close to signing an immunity deal. Because they kept on talking about the immunity and how close they were to a deal and everything. And I was like, she had to testify, like, in front of Congress and shit. Like, this happened. And so I was like, what immunity? And so finally, when he was watching the morning shows because he came to the office after church on a Sunday. And so he was watching the Sunday morning, like, you know, Good Morning America and everything.
He said something like he was signaling to Bill Clinton, and I didn't follow that part.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I think Ken Starr might have been a little loony. Also,
I didn't realize that was Ken Starr. At a certain point, all the old white men just sort of blur.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, and I loved also he was on the phone with Colin Hanks. Colin Hanks is the one that was like, we gave her our word. We can't back out on this. Like, this is going to be ridiculous. And then I'll tell you, if I remember one thing about this, I remember that press conference that Bill gave at the end of the episode. I remember that because like that phrasing and his exact intonation is like burned in my brain forever.
It's so incendiary.
It's so gross. The way he just is like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. It's gross. It's so gross. And I like every single time I like think about it or hear it or anything, I'm just like, blah. I don't like the phrasing. I don't like the tone. I don't like the intonation and none of it. It's all bad.
She's like simultaneously existing in people's minds. It's like a Schrodinger's cat where it's like she's both a liar and also a fat slut. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
my
like,
God, totally.
It's like so.
Well, and then even in addition to that, she's like a slut and a homewrecker, but also who would be desperate enough to fuck such a fat person. And it's just like, oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. It was the 90s. The 90s.
quite a time.
I mean, it's hardly over, but things are different now. Things
are different now. Yeah, things are at least a little different, but it is just
in a post-Kardashian world.
Yeah, I cannot fathom how. I mean, I just believe that she was sitting there for that. Hillary said 5 news cycles. That means like 5+ days. This was happening. I believe she was just lying on the couch watching that. And I cannot imagine such a hellacious existence. That sounds because
she's also processing the disillusionment of this relationship.
Oh, yeah. She's still right in the middle of that. Right in the middle. She never got closure on the like actual relationship or anything. I can't imagine. And then
no one's ever been that excited to see Bill Clinton.
Oh, my God. That was funny. But then that other guy, the older man that she had the relationship with, the one that she told Linda about previously, went with his stupid wife. Ugh.
And his horrible ponytail.
Yeah, it was real bad. Just like, it just sort of reminded me of all the guys I had crushes on in college where I was just like, really, that guy? That's what I was doing? I don't get it.
I can vouch for the high school part of that, but.
Well. Oh, man.
So we did have a character on this show that was brand new that came out of nowhere. Her name was Hillary Clinton.
Never heard of her before. It was nice to see Edie Falco do something. It wasn't a lot of something, but that scene, oh my God, though. The way she reacted when he woke her up.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the press conference.
No, that was excellent too, though. But when he woke her up and he like explains to her what's going on and she just goes, do you have anything you need to tell me? I swear to God, the bitch is so pragmatic. If he had said, yeah, she gave me 8 blowjobs, 2 to completion. What do we do about that? Hillary would have been like, boot and rally. Let's get through this. Just fucking admit it, man. It's like unreal how much I believe she would have she would have buried the body out back for him. And he just didn't give her the credit at any opportunity.
I keep saying, I mean, it was Queen of the Gods. She was like, she understood the assignment.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing, because again, I think it's going to mimic what happened in this episode where like finally his lawyer was like, well, or not his lawyer, that guy he brought in to advise him. He like brought him in the back door. I don't remember his name, Dick something.
The toe sucker.
He was like, the thing is nobody cares about the sex, but now that you have said that you didn't do it, you can't come clean about the sex because the people are not cool with the perjury. And I think that's going to mirror it in the next episode when he finally has to tell Hillary that he did have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. And I just think like that's the thing is like she wouldn't have been as mad if he didn't lie first. And that's the biggest part is that he lied first. If he had just told her the truth, they could have gotten through it a little less scathed. But he didn't tell the truth first. He lied immediately just to try to cover it up. And that's the stuff that like is bonkers. And like these fucking men, they never think about the consequences. They just are like, I can manage this web of lies. And it's like, you absolutely cannot. And then they drop a rock right through it.
The show is doing a very good job of portraying between the lines, in my opinion. I think because we're dealing with A, history, and B, not recent history, but many of these people are still alive.
Oh, yeah, almost all of them.
There's a lot of inferring. There's a lot of entendres. There's a lot of like subtleties and stuff. And so a character like Hillary Clinton, we're having the production, Edie, the writers, the directing is having to do a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah.
With what she thinks, what she feels, and just like something as simple as that subtle glance aside as he was saying that was able, at least for me, to sort of like imprint. I was able to make peace with my understanding of Hillary Clinton given that performance.
Yeah. And also I feel like she obviously knows already. You know what I mean? Like, she must know. Because also, I think we can't leave this episode without discussing the Paula Jones part at the beginning. Where
I missed like the first 2 minutes. It wasn't letting me rewind. It was in that stupid ad thing. So I saw that he was depositioning or whatever.
He's being deposed. And he basically just was like, no, I've never even met Paula Jones. And she like,
and she's right there.
She's literally right there, and she had to like run out of the room crying, and Judith Light like followed her out, and she called him a chicken shit. It was kind of amazing. But I just like I don't understand the level of balls it takes to lie about something that's like relatively provable. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
You certainly can't have a dramatic curve in your dick if you're gonna do it. I mean,
what do you mean, right?
I do have a Mickey Mouse shaped birthmark on my left testicle. You know what I mean? It's like you can't just wing that one.
No, definitely not.
We got 3 more episodes. Somehow I was like, man, we're slogging through this, and now I'm like, we're going too fast.
No, too fast, way too fast. Yeah, I don't.
I've largely been enjoying this. I wanted to say thank you to everyone out there watching it. We've gotten a lot of very nice, very flattering comments. I thought we were mostly phoning it in, but we're trying to make this work, but
yeah, so much so that we are literally phoning it in right now. Literally.
Have you been able to watch any of my You videos?
I watched the first one, but by the time that I was trying to watch the second episode of the show, I realized that I could watch American Crime Story live, so I did that instead.
That's fine. The reactions are mostly just me snorting and spitting all over the place because they keep laughing.
Okay, so this is not on topic for this episode at all, and we can cut this if we need to, but I think my favorite part is how down you are to live in that suburb.
It keeps coming up. I was like,
everybody's just like, this is a prison. And I'm just like, that's the nicest house I've ever seen.
I was like, I'd find a way.
Yeah, I would make that work so hard.
So yeah, okay, well, just let us know what you think and tune in next week for episode 8. And we have all of the likes and subscribes, the checks, the ups, the downs, if you want to patron or donate or I'll take a well thought out down.
Sure.
We just talked about how we want to know. We want to know.
We do. I do want to know. We want to know.
I don't want to know.
Don't tell me. Please don't.
We don't talk about the Goose Goblin. So, okay.
All right. Bye.